Hello everybody, welcome back to the Band of War Variety channel. In today's video we're going to be doing another update to the collection video. So I got some more stuff from a grab bag that I did a while ago that I didn't film. I got a stack of $100 and $1 bills, so we're going to do a live bill search in this video, as well as some new additions to the albums from that grab bag. So we're going to have a couple things going on in this video, and we're going to be getting deep into the descriptions of the coins that I got from the grab bag. So we're going to get into that now. So we're going to start with the loose stuff that we got, and then we'll get into what's in the albums that got added to those. So we got a 1916 S Barber dime here. Last year, if we look in the new red book, we got 5.8 million, so a lower mintage. About $6 red value in good for condition, which I think is about where this is at, if not a little higher, so pretty good on that. It gave us a few foreign coins, which aren't really anything great, but we have a 2002 20 Bolivares from Bolivia, or not Bolivia, Venezuela, I think. Yeah, Simon Bolivar on it from 2002. These were minted from 2000 to 2002 with this design. Then we have a 5 centimo from the Philippines, crown flower, I think that's called, and the bank's seal of the Bank of the Philippines on it. And then we have 5 centimos, and this is from 2018. And then we have a 20 Kenyan shillings from 1998. I already have a bunch of these, if you remember from watching my my other coin video that I'm showing on the right, where I got that stuff from my grandfather's collection. He had a bunch of these Kenyan shillings, and he went to Africa with his traveling ministry back then. And I pretty much have the same as this, so I'm not too sure what I'll be doing with this yet, but it's the same, 1998. This design was just issued for 1998. We have Daniel Toro Atish, which is Arap Moi, he was the second president of Kenya from 1978 to 2002. But just this design for 1998. So those aren't nothing rare, but a few foreigns were added in. We have an Andrew Johnson presidential dollar coin. So this will be the third one I have, not including the ones in the proof set. So got George Washington, John Quincy Adams, and Andrew Johnson now. So still not enough to justify getting an album yet, but we'll keep stacking those up. So glad to see a new presidential dollar added. And on top of that, we got some silver here. Just a 1963 Denver Roosevelt dime, 90% silver. I already got that in my album, and this is not going to replace that. So I'm just going to take it out of this holder and throw it in my junk silver container and keep the holder. And then a 1967 40%er Kennedy half dollar, which I already have in the album. This one's pretty nice, but not as nice as mine. So not too sure what I'll do with that yet. It's still nice. I may keep this in this holder, or I'll pop it out. I don't know yet. But so we got some additional silver there. Here we have a Swedish 1 solidus shilling from Riga, which is the city in Livonia, which is now the capital of Latvia and the Baltic countries in Europe. But that was then part of the Swedish Empire. So these shillings were issued with insignias of their respective rollers. So from 1629 to 1721, there were several rollers that rolled in that period. These coins would change to different insignias based on the roller that was rolling. So at this time, we had Gustav II Adolf, or Gustavus Adolphus, he was known as, also known as the Line of the North, and Gustavus the Great led Sweden to victory in the 30 Years' War. And 1611, 1632 would have been the years that he would have rolled. Now, there's only certain dates that these were issued. So from 1621 to 1634, I think, are the years of this particular shilling. And they will have the last two letters of the date in the top above the reverse. So I'm showing you several CoinScope images from the new CoinScope that I got on that I'm showing you. And you cannot see any of that on this. But there is a variety for 1621 where there is no date. However, I don't think that that is the one. I think it might just be worn off. So I don't know a specific date for this, but it is anywhere from 1621 to 1634, I believe. So one Swedish shilling, one Swedish solidus shilling from Regal Livonia. So and then they also gave me a 2023 West Point burnished silver eagle, which took most of the value of the bag. So this is already 80%, not including the numismatic value of burnished eagles, which are more rare, and then plus all this extra stuff. So it was a $100 grab bag, and I definitely got over $100. So that is that 2023 West Point burnished. I don't think it will make Mint State 70. I'm thinking Mint State 69. A lot of the scratches and stuff you see are just on the case, not on the coin itself. It may make Mint State 70, but in Mint State 69 it brings about $95 red value. In Mint State 70, I believe it brings about $195. And then it's about $80 in silver value for an ounce. So that's pretty good. And then last we had a matron head large cent, or coronet head as they were known, but it's specifically the matron head design with no date on it. Now it didn't look like this when I got it. It was hammered and brown. I tried extensively a bunch of different things to try to get a date off of it, mainly electrolysis, which you see me doing here. I was hooking a 24-volt power up to the coin and to a steel bolt in a glass of salt water, and then the steel bolt acted as an anode rod and attracted all the gunk off the coin. So that's how I got it clean like this, but still no date, as you can see by the microscope images, even after doing that. So then I tried a 3% hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol. That did nothing. And then I did nicodate, which obviously is forbidden. You don't use anything other than on nickels, but I just wanted to see. So we have that acid stain and still no date. Liberty is partially visible. I had determined that it's between 1816 and 1835 because it has the standard design head, as you can see here. If it was later, it would have the head of 1836 or the head of 1838, or the silly or booby heads. And it definitely isn't head of 1840 or any of the later braided hair designs. But it's definitely a matron head large cent between those years. But obviously without a date, you can't check for any of these varieties or anything like that. So there is no date. I was going to throw it out, but then I don't think I could throw something that old out. But no collector is going to want that, so I'm just going to throw it in my old junk cents container. But even still, almost 200-year-old or 200-year-old, depending on what date it is, piece of U.S. history here that I'm going to keep for that reason. So matron head large cent, no date. So now I bring you into the album editions. So we have 1906 Indian head cent there in nicer shape. Liberty is partially visible, but the coin does have nice detail, bolder designs than some of the other worn examples. So I did get that. Higher mintage, not rare date at all, but still an addition to the Indian album, which I rarely ever get anything for. Then we had a 1943 S steel cent, which I needed. I had the Denver and Philadelphia steel, and then I got the San Francisco steel from the grab bag. So we had that. In addition to the V-nickel album, I got the 1903 basic V-nickel in good for condition. That's usually what they're found in 1900s. Not the lowest mintage date for the 1900s, but they're all pretty common in the 1900s, but I did need the 1903, so we got that. And then for the Buffalo nickel, I got the 1936 Denver right there, 24.8 million minted. Nice to see any Buffalo nickel with a mint mark. Not really a rare date, but dates visible, mint mark was visible, and new addition to the album. Now, if you remember from my other videos, you do see now that the 1937 Denver is missing. That's because with my new coin scope that I got, I can see a lot better. And I took it out just to check because it was really faint mint mark. And I just wanted to check. And as you can see, there is no mint mark. It looks like a very faint trace of a D on there, but the date is very legible. And to me, if the date's that legible, the mint mark isn't going to be worn off like it seems to be. So I rolled it out as a 1937 Philadelphia, which I already have. So it was removed from the album. Speaking of that same course of action, in here, the 1911 Denver, which has a very scarce trace of a mint mark, as you can see. I did look at it under the scope, and it has all evidence pointing towards a 1911 Philly, not the Denver. But if it wasn't for you being able to see the trace of the Denver there so well with your naked eye, and it being so worn that the mint mark has a potential of being wore off, then I'm going to keep it in here as the 1911 Denver, even if it isn't, because there's enough evidence pointing towards a mint mark being there with the naked eye. But this is a priority date to get replaced for that reason. But 1911 Denver is one of the more scarce dates. So with that being said, I don't think that's enough to just feature a video about that stuff. So recently my bank has told me that they can no longer get coinage ordered in boxes and rolls due to the shortage that's been going on recently that may or may not have something to do with the penny being taken out of production, but they said they can no longer give me coinage because they're not allocated enough or any at all. So what I have been doing is getting stacks of bills, which I've seen other numismatists doing and coin collectors and stuff like that. Not something I really did before this, but I am looking for other alternative ways of finding things to collect from circulation. So I already did this once that I didn't film. I didn't find anything, but I have $100 and $1 bills, a simple, easy denomination to hunt here that I've got for the purpose of adding to this video. So we're going to live search through that, look for interesting serial numbers, printing errors, rare star notes, because I don't keep any regular ones that aren't that significant, older dates, web notes, all those types of things that are fun to find on $1 notes. So let's get into that now before we wrap up the video. So here we are. We're going to start off with the 2006. There's going to be limited commentary unless I find something exciting. There's nothing with that. Just check front and back. Serial numbers to make sure they match. Here we have a 555, but that doesn't excite me. I want 5 or more digits. I'm very picky when it comes to this stuff. This is an interesting serial number here. I probably would keep it if it was just 8 and 1s, but the 4 at the end throws it off. Being it's 2021 and it's in such crisp condition, I'm thinking about maybe saving that, but then again, I'm thinking I'm just going to pass it on to somebody else. We have another close one there. Quadruple 1. Like I said, I want 5 or more. That's the ultra rare. So we might have an ink smear on that one, which is a notable error. Or it could just be stained from circulation. Not too sure, but it does appear that ink has bled through. So we may hold on to that. Here we have the serial number slightly lower than usual in the top right. Not too aggressive. Here we have a series 1999. Which I can't remember if that's a web note date or not. Perhaps some board Sharpie coloring there. It's going to be a V, a lesser common prefix. I believe it's W and X are the ones you want to look for. Here's an interesting one. It would be nice if they were all in a particular order, but everything starts with 6, so I think I'm going to discard it though. So that wraps that up. So that's going to conclude that. There were some good serial numbers in there, just not any good enough for me. I want the real nice, exquisite ones. So I'm going to have to keep hunting for those, obviously. This ink smear, it's not that prominent. I think I'm just going to stick it in a holder and hold on to it till I figure out what I'm going to do. Most places I'm going to go to probably aren't going to give me money for that. So I'm just going to wait it out. Probably going to end up releasing it back into circulation, but I'm going to check around first. So this is going to go in a holder in the banknote album. Pretty good bag. it bothered me that I got the matron head with no date, and then I had to destroy it to yet again no avail. That bothered me. It would have been nice to get a date, but it is what it is. Got good stuff for the albums. All the common sense and nickels and stuff that they gave me were all dates I needed for the albums, so that was lucky. We got some silver. We got the 2023 West Point Burnished Silver Eagle, which automatically takes up 80% of the value of the bag since it was a $100 bag, and then all the extra stuff tax on additional. So I did have more than $100, maybe even 95% of the bag that takes up. So it was a good few additions. It is a bummer though that I can no longer get coinage from my banks. Some of the other banks I go to, I can't. They can't allocate it either. So that may or may not change. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to be a coin collector. I'm still just going to hunt around at some local shops that I have near me that I go to for places. I'm just going to have to search after some more exquisite stuff than getting it for face value at a bank. So it's really not any big deal. I'm not that worried about it. But I'm going to keep searching for that, keep getting additional things for the collection, and keep working that up, and we'll be making more videos to come as I get more stuff from those places. So what it's looking like on the channel, I'm starting a new series here coming up where I'm analyzing all my short films, Burgundy's War, and all the movies that I've made about different battles and things. And I'm going to be going in-depth director's cut style. I already made a battle review, analysis video reviewing the Battle of Monte Pylon, but I didn't like how it turned out. It was too on and on and on, rambling, wasn't good at editing. It was too many long scenes of me just talking about nonsensical stuff. So I've decided to refilm that, and that'll be coming up next. But I wanted to make this video in the meantime to get something new up on the channel, showcase some new things for the collection that I've been holding on to for a while before I made a video, and just get that cleared up. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's video.